Hi everyone, let's go through my low time frame scenarios, but to put things into perspective, I think it's important to start with my preferred scenario on a medium time frame where I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4 and now ending this fifth wave over here in green before then downside is expected. If we zoom into this final leg, this wave 5 to the upside, I'm thinking about an extended wave 1, then a 2, 3, 4 and eventually a wave 5. Wave 5 should end in between the 0.618 and the 0.786, which is basically between 28.9k and 30.4k. If wave 1 is extended in an impulsive scenario, the targets for a wave 2, 3 and 4 will also change, with the most common targets for a wave 2 being the 0.236 and the 0.382, which has been very well respected, before a move to the upside where we then have wave 3, which does not have a target if wave 1 is extended. That's very important to note. However, wave 4 does have a most common target if wave 1 is extended, and that is between again the 0.236 and the 0.382, which again has been very nicely respected before now a move to the upside. Also, wave 5 does have an important target, which is between these fips over here, as mentioned before, the 786 at 30.4k. And also what's very nice is that inside this area, for a little bit of additional confluence, we also have the weekly naked point of control and the weekly, besides the fact that we also have over here a support resistance area around the 30k. The final range that we had in basically, what is this, 2022 was at this level as well. So we are reaching very important levels on the Bitcoin chart. If we then go to the lower time frame scenarios, keeping in mind that wave 4 is finished over here in this preferred scenario, we first go and check the very bullish scenario. So the very bullish scenario has a little bit of a different count on the medium time frame, where this is a wave 1 on the high time frame, this is a wave 2, and then we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we expect a big move to the upside in wave 3. Now, first of all, this wave 2 is very short compared to wave 1, which is very unusual. Usually wave 2 takes about 38% minimum of the time it took to form wave 1, but this wave 2 is about 23%, which is very short. Then this wave 2 over here, well, the rare target in an impulsive structure for wave 2, where wave 1 is not extended, but this is just a normal wave 1, is the 382. That's already a rare target. The most common is then the 0.5 to the 0.786. However, this wave 2 just missed out on hitting the 0.382, and also this wave 2 over here, the blue one, and then another 1, 2 before 3 to the upside, hit only the rare target for wave 2. So with this yellow wave 2 being short in time, the green wave 2 not even hitting its rare target, the blue wave 2 hitting the rare target, this scenario becomes so unlikely at the moment if we are not going to keep pushing, or at least with high volume and big pushes to the upside. That's what we want to see. So yeah, not a fan of this scenario. The second scenario I'd like to show you is then again that wave 4 is finishing over here. And if we then zoom in a little bit, wave 5 is already finished. So in this scenario, we then have a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hitting the white target box, which is the target area for wave 5 over here, and then trade it to the downside. Now, the potential short for the medium time frame, as well as this particular scenario, but also in the medium time frame, is to ladder potential shorts over here in this box, stop loss somewhere safely above for then a potential trade to the downside. Of course, make sure you have your own strategy, your own plan, your own entry requirements. But this is currently not my preferred scenario as well. Because I wanna see bearish CVD, I wanna see absorption, I wanna see big players absorbing the market buys of retail players. So basically what I wanna see is price making a lower high on price, like the chart over here. This is the AGGR chart. You can find it in my Discord channel. Link in the description, where we make a lower high on price, but a higher high with the 2 lines at the bottom. So these yellow and blue lines, I want to see higher highs over here, but a lower high on price, which shows absorption of the long buys, market buys that people have into the short position of a very big player to then push price to the downside. So far, we haven't seen it yet. So I still would like price to go up just a little bit more, besides the fact we also still have some nice confluence that we are kind of reaching, but not yet. The 30k psychological level, I believe, is also very important, because that might be a place where people can buy because they think, hey, we go to the moon next, you know, oh, 60k, 100k, whatever it is, before then eventually move to the downside to bait those people out, hit their stop losses and whatnot. make them panic, make price move to the downside before then eventually in the somewhere down here, you know, push price back up basically. So yeah, I think that would be like an ideal scenario. If we go to a little bit of a different scenario, wave 5 has already ended over here, with then the final impulse actually being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we then look at the corrective structure that we're in now, this is also not preferred but alternative. We have a 3 wave in a W or an A. So we have a 3 wave here, 3 waves, and then this being a 3 wave in W or A. Then we have an A, B, C. And that's interesting, which basically means this wave C is an impulsive structure, which it is by the looks of it. And then this is a 3 wave in A, 3 wave in B, and then an impulsive 5 wave structure in wave C, hitting the target area for an expanded flat wave B. If this is then an A, B, C, or then a W, X, Y, where eventually we have an expanded flat going on. And also the most common target for wave C is inside this white box, inside the two 1.618s. And then we would expect a move further to the downside. So we then, in this scenario, have like a 3 wave here in the W, a 3 wave in X, and then we expect a 3 wave down in Y. At the moment, not the most likely scenario. Of course, the only potential setup here was entering at the double top. Stop loss should already be break even, of course, by far, if not already taken some profit. But yeah, I think it's a bit more likely at the moment we continue a little bit further to the downside, which are the last 3 scenarios that I'm going to show you. So if we zoom in this scenario, wave 4 ended over here, and we're still looking for wave 5 to the upside. And I have 3 scenarios to have a look at how that might happen. The first one is a ending diagonal in 5. This one, however, is very, very wide. And this wave 2 then would also take very long, because this is then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we shouldn't forget about the scenario where this can still be a 3 wave structure, because if we do zoom in, this is a zigzag by the looks of it on a very low time frame. Then we have another 3 wave structure. This can be an A, B expanded flat C, or a C ending over here, before we then find more downside in a wave Y. Now, if we do go down for potentially this wave Y, I do have a nice target box actually over here with a daily naked point of control. We have a daily over here as well, and the target box is from 27.162 till 26.9k basically. So that could be pretty nice for then a potential long setup. Invalidation is going to be below the lows over there, and then traded to the upside. So that could be an interesting scenario as well. Of course, potential trading setup, do your own research. And I do think that if price is going to go below these lows, we have quite a move to the downside to come, because the first real support area that I have is the target box down here, which sits at 24.8k to 24.3k. There's simply not much support over here. So the moment we're going to take these lows, I believe price can go down relatively quickly. If we then go to the unfinished wave 5 scenario, where this is not a wave 1, so this impulse is still ongoing, we are basically finished wave 4 and currently looking for wave 5 to the upside, with the most common target being in between the 1.236 and the 1.618, which is between 29.6k and 30.2k, which also then includes the confluences that we have over here, so that is actually pretty nice. What I don't necessarily like is that this wave 4 was very deep, not gonna lie, it was very deep. So in this particular scenario, usually a wave 4 is not closing candles below the 0.5. However, in this scenario, we already closed some down here. I mean, I can accept that, I suppose, but then these candles very well clear from the 0.5 fib, even touched the 618, which is a rare target for wave 4. So okay, it's not impossible, it's just a very rare target for wave 4 to hit or even close towards the 0.618 before then moving to the upside. But we shouldn't forget that price doesn't have to come down once more and then up. It can also just continue grinding throughout the weekend as well to the upside, take the high of 3 up again, and then eventually end somewhere here. I don't think that will happen during the weekend, but at least in this scenario we would continue upside. Of course, this can also on the lower time frame be a 1, 2, 3, 4 wave 5 ending over here, so we could have a little bit of a correction as well, which in a weekend scenario is, you know, quite often price is ranging in a weekend scenario and not that impulsive. Most of the time at least. So a little bit of a move down is of course possible for then maybe like a 3 wave or a 5 wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eventually. or 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. But in this scenario, we expect more upside. And then the final scenario is actually that we expect then a potential 3 wave. In the third, we have then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again an ending diagonal. But in this particular scenario, this 5-wave structure is finished. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually wave 5 finished, taking the highs of basically the liquidity over here, also taking the liquidity over here. So it took some liquidity before now potentially moving down and then moving up once again in an ABC. So then we have wave 3 being a 3-wave structure, which then is an A, 3-wave B, and then eventually a C to the upside. In this particular scenario, price is not allowed to go below the low of this wave 2, so the potential trading setup would be something like this in this particular scenario, with the targets for wave 3 being mainly in between the 786 and the 886, as those are the most common targets for wave 3 in an ending diagonal. But yeah, the basically scenarios where I'm looking for upside are most likely, which is basically the final 3 scenarios, I suppose, where this diagonal for me is a bit more likely at the moment than this diagonal, because I'm not sure if I would like to see price go down once more for a potential wave Y after the wick that we had over here. We didn't hit the target box, that's true, but also with the bullish divergences that we have between these lows and these lows on the CVD, I would just like to see the high taken. But hey, I don't know what price is going to do. No one knows what price is going to do. I can only share my insights, and I hope these are very helpful or valuable to you. I'd like to thank you for watching and subscribing, and see you at the next Bitcoin update at 1 p.m. Central East European Time today. Bye bye.